today's sessions, we have the honor and privilege to have Guenter Herold. Guenter is located in Austria, and he has worked for several IT companies, big ones and smaller ones. I just name a few: Cisco, Fujitsu-Siemens, Fujitsu, Epson, Lexmark. Currently, he works for Red Hat, so he's a techie in his heart. And he's a manager of a team of technical experts in IBM, which is very exciting. And he's educating partners to co-develop joint solutions and market them appropriately. He is a certified positive intelligence coach, and currently also is studying his master thesis about positive leadership. So we're very excited to hear from him and educate us on positive leadership. What is positive leadership? How we can really measure that and how we can apply in our business. I think it will be a very exciting session. So welcome, Herold, Guenter, and I give you the ball to continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Pantelis, for this introduction. So welcome, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome, Nokia managers. I'm very happy to be invited today. And as Pantelis said, I'm working on a master thesis on positive leadership. Thinking about leadership and being a leader and being a coach since 2008 brought me to a very interesting perspective on how leadership should look like. And since everyone is always asking for outcomes and everyone wants to understand, okay, if I change, if I use a certain methodology, what is it that I can gain with it, right? I want to see results. I raised the question for the master thesis about what is the impact of applying positive leadership methodologies, and the whole content or the whole material was originated by 10 interviews with experts, with people who are more than 10 years in a leadership role and who are perceived as being positive leaders. And so first, I want to ask you something, and I want your response with just 1 or 2 words about what is your management style, and please type it in the chat. How would you describe your today's management style? Open and flexible. Mario was first. Thank you. Democratic, servant leadership. Anyone else wants to try? Dave, I can't believe that. You would have been the first manager who's speaking that out loud.
I have been in leadership roles for decades, and I know myself very well.
Okay, thank you very much for your open and honest feedback. What wonderful. So I want to structure my speech around the definition, what positive leadership is, around the why, the how, and the what. So where is it coming from? How is it applied today? And what are the outcomes? And as a bonus, I want to give you at the end some questions that you can use to evaluate the grade, the evolution of positive leadership in your company. And at the very end, I'm very happy to have a discussion. And if you have some questions, and I hope you have questions, I'm very happy to elaborate on that. So you see in your answers that we have quite a variety of how we describe our leadership styles, right? But all of them are heading in a specific direction. And when I read something like servant leadership, for example, then it's already leaning towards a certain method, a book that was called like that, and that is giving you the tools how to implement a leadership style. But let me give you, from a coaching perspective, an idea where it comes from. So the definition of positive leadership is very close to positive psychology. And in 2001, Martin Seligman said in front of on a conference in front of psychologists that the absence of illness is not thriving and the best status you can have, right? If you ask someone, how do you do today? And this person answers, well, not bad. There is a huge gap between not bad and wow, excellent, like Dave did in the beginning, right? So the question for the psychologists was, how can we help normal people, healthy people, to get better and to be happier and to contribute to their well-being? And if we apply this in the context of leadership, it is what we call positive leadership. And then we have several ways to go there. And this is a very interesting phenomenon that in, I think, a lot of industries, we love to deal with complexity, because in this complexity, there is a lot of elements that we can elaborate. It sounds always new, right? And there is a lot of things we can sell, and we reach different audiences. But at its core, the principle is always the same. And so all the methods we learn since 2001 are leaning very much towards the positive leadership principle, because this is the mindset behind everything else. And we need to distinguish the mindset from a method and the method from a specific tool that helps me to apply the method. So the first thing where it all starts is a mindset. And now we have a little problem, and this is the definition of positive in positive leadership. Because we perceive it then as, oh, this is a happy manager, right? This is about sunshine. This is about having no problems at all, right? But the truth is that it is a little bit more complicated. So we have a model that Seligman introduced. This is called PERMA. And PERMA is a measure of well-being, and it splits out into positive mind, engagement, healthy relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So if we have in these 5 areas room to be present, to achieve something, to have good conversations, and to be also able to do something based on our own ideas and to try things out, and also maybe to fail, but to learn from failure, we feel happy and we feel enriched and we have a fulfilled life. And so all the methods, no matter on which aspect they focus now, and you wrote it in the chat, right? You wrote the servant leadership. So you're taking care of your people. You want to help them and to give them an environment where they can grow. Or open and flexible, which is also a little bit leaning in this direction. Democratic, so you want to have the people are heard, right? So everyone, there's a lot of collaboration. People should raise their voice. They should raise their ideas. So it's more on the communication side. All these things are contributing to it. And so to manage now this complexity of the tools, of the methods, it is very important from my point of view and what I found in my studies to simply remember why are we doing that? Oh, it is because we want to achieve our goals, while in parallel, we want to have people who see the reason for this goal and who are happy to achieve the goal, right? And it should not be based on pressure or forced by any means. So in the end, we want to support others. And what I found was sayings like, you know, I am a manager by nature, and I have no clue what I do, but it works out, and everybody loves me. And this is weird, because if you ask this person now specifically, how can I learn from you? Then the only answer is, well, watch me doing whatever I do, because I cannot describe it. And this is very, very sad, that because it would be so beneficial to understand what this person is doing right, but even for the person itself, it is not possible to elaborate on it. So to become role models and also mentors for others, there are now some ways how the managers are doing that, or how we can help these managers to do that. I mentioned this one person who said, oh yes, you know, I'm manager by heart, I was born like that. And it is interesting that you have, let's say, 40% of the managers who say they are talented. Some of them say it's a mix, and the rest says, no, this is not a talent. You know, everyone has to learn that. This is a craftsmanship. You know, this is something you have to learn from bottom up. And so we have different views here, but all of them have one insight, and this is, it has to do with a lot of feedback. It's super important that you receive feedback from all your peers, and all of them had a coaching experience in the past. And being now educated in coaching, everything we do with our clients is also always leaning towards this PERMA model, where we want to give meaning, and we want to create a safe environment, and where we want to have this good relationship and communication. Yeah. So there are great sayings. And in the beginning I said, positive leadership is a mindset and not a method. So one of my experts said, I don't want that my associates leave the company with the feeling that they are losing lifetime here. What a powerful saying, right? So we spend so much time at work. So in the end, it should somehow contribute to a fulfilled life, right? Wouldn't you agree? And on the other hand, because I mentioned already that we have this sunshine manager idea, right? Another expert said, you know, I wanted my people find meaning, but my business case, or the reason for or the major goal of my company, is not to enlighten my employees, right? So I mean, it is in the responsibility of the person to find the meaning of life finally, right? But work and the contribution of work and the time there should somehow contribute to it. And this is the ask, right? And of course, there are tough times. And when you ask an expert, is there kind of a border? Is there a limit? Is there some point in time where positive leadership doesn't work anymore? Is there another mindset you need to apply? People answer surprisingly often yes. And this is when times are tough, when you have to take decisions and there is no time for discussions, for example, or if someone else tells you you need to do something. And guess what? If you ask them then, what are your strategies? What are you doing then exactly? They describe methods that are perfectly in line with positive leadership. So they try to create a safe conversation, or they explain that there is no time yet. They are the managers, they have to decide, but there is plenty of time after this escalation, this crisis, or whatever happened, to reflect on it and to adjust and to learn for the next crisis or for the next critical situation appearing. So all of this is perfectly applied positive intelligence or positive leadership, but it's perceived as, oh no, this is not positive now, in a way of happy, right? And so it must be something else. this now ties again back to the mindset where one of these interview partners told me, you know, I had to lay off 2 people from my team. And the day after, one of them came back and told me that this was the most honest and open and valuable conversation this person had, and that there was a lot of empathy and positive energy, right? So even in a layoff conversation, you can treat people not only as humans, but you can treat people in a way that they say, you know, I feel valued, even if the situation is bad. And these are awesome examples of what we are aiming for and how we can also overcome very critical situations with this mindset in our forehead. So, because I mentioned the outcomes and what people are now curious about, or what is it that I can gain from it? So, the most important things are an environment where you receive feedback. So you receive feedback on all levels. And it was not only one person who said, you know, the moment I became country manager, no one was telling me the truth anymore. And how bad is that, right? So this is really hindering this person to evolve any further. So what you create is an atmosphere of trust and honest feedback that helps everyone in the organization to grow. The second thing is resiliency. And resiliency in terms of if change comes, people are not freaking out anymore because they see, okay, yes, times are changing, they always do. So let's find the opportunity in this change. And last but not least, all of them perceive themselves and their teams successful by, in parallel, being happy with their work. And I think this is also something that needs to be, these two things need to be mentioned together, right? It is they achieve the same goal of, they achieve their targets, but they achieve it with less stress, with a positive atmosphere, with good relationships, and finally they are not that stressed out and not at risk to have any serious health issues. So I come to an end, and I have promised that there are some questions, and those questions now tie back to this outcomes. So question number 1 is, what is the feedback culture in your company? Is it possible for you to walk up to your boss and say, you know what, I'm close to a bore out, right? The job I'm doing, I do it for 5 years. It is not interesting for me at all. Please, let's find something that is somehow challenging, interesting, innovative. You know, please give me something that I can support the company better. Is this something you are familiar with? Is this something where you say, okay, yes, such a conversation is not a problem at all? Awesome, right? If not, this is a mindset thing of the company where there might be some room for improvement. The second thing, resiliency. My favorite example, changes are announced. Is everyone jumping from his chair and saying, oh, great, new opportunities for everyone? Or are people, no, better hold my chair. It will be a bumpy ride for the next 2 quarters, right? Same thing, and the same, and here also the question how to handle this, or is there immediately fear, right, within the associates teams? And the third question is, if I look at your org chart, will I see how you work, or do I just see how the company is clustered in different silos and departments? And what I found is that in very much evolved environments with a lot of positive leadership mindset, people are still representing their organization in hierarchical line charts, which is weird because we are working in networks, in cells, we are cross-connected across teams. There's a lot of collaboration going on and a lot of innovation going on that is not reflected in the org charts at all. And the more we work together, the more we collaborate, the trickier it will be to replace a person. So if someone leaves, we start to have the problem that the role description of this person does not fit the job the person did anymore, because this person is maybe part of a community, or this person is helping another department in, I don't know, getting better in some processes because he's a mentor for these guys, right? And so we have a problem to visualize that. And for all these things, we have more or less simple solutions that are underneath all these methods and that tie back to psychological findings that are several decades old and that help us to visualize and to deal with this complexity and make it easier. Okay, so this was my presentation, and my call to action would be to think about, to separate this mindset, the methods, and the tools intentionally. And if you have any questions how something works, just first of all try to look underneath. Where is the system coming from? Because everyone is dealing with the complexity for a reason, because they want to sell you something. But for example, if you want to understand how a personality profile works, and you do your DISC profile, or your 16 personalities, or your True Tilt, or whatever tools you're using, it is always the same psychological background that was written in the 1950s by Mr. Riemann. And there is the answer, what the psychological background is, right? So it is very interesting to talk to someone with some experience or with a coaching background to tell you where it comes from, and then things are much easier than to read dozens of management books where everyone tries to squeeze you into his method and into his tools. Yeah. All right, so I am curious if we have questions. And I see that there are some comments in the chat. Yeah. Pantelis, you wrote here that usually mature employees are more open to give difficult feedback. Yes, this is absolutely true. It has something to do with empathy. And also because they are calm. And I am 47 now, so I know what I'm talking about. I can observe becoming more quiet over the years, and this helps. But of course, you can speed up this process by being more self-conscious, by doing meditations or micro meditations. Just to be more self-aware in the deepest sense, because this helps you to concentrate and then also to empathize for others before you play out your natural reaction, right, that you learned over the decades. We could empower younger employees to do so as well. Yes, absolutely. And vice versa. There is a term called reverse mentoring, where the mature employee gets a very young mentor to understand how this generation thinks and how this generation is solving problems. Very good example was, I was asking one of my interview partners what he would do better if he could start over doing his management position that he is in, and the answer was, he would not take so much time to write proper emails anymore. Because, you know, the younger generations simply don't care if there is a typo in this email. They want to have short and concise information, maybe a picture in it or a video link. But there is simply a different focus on it, and this person was used to write letters in the very beginning of his career. Yeah, so I was able to change role into something because I was able to talk to my manager openly. Oh yes, very good. Yeah, yes. And I also have to say, I also made this very positive experience, and thank you for bringing this up, Maria. If you are in an environment where you say, Guenter, you are preaching to the converted here, right? We have all that. Yeah, we have a wonderful atmosphere. We love our job. We reach our goals. Everyone is happy to spend the weekend with each other. No, I'm of course exaggerating, but please talk to those who are not at this point. And it is proven that we have a lot of business partners, a lot of suppliers, a lot of customers. Oftentimes it is also vertical specific, who are not at this stage of evolution and who are very strict in their hierarchy, where there's a very bad feedback culture. And so it is important for them to see how this works out and that you achieve the same goals or even strive better, but with much more ease and with much more fun and joy. Any questions?
That was great. Any questions, colleagues? Anyone, just open your microphone and maybe ask if you have a question or a comment.
Do you, Guenter, that first, this was great. And I've been doing leadership stuff for a long time. And this was really good. Secondly, do you see that a lot of organizations are having a hard time adapting a growth mindset? Since you're kind of in the industry, I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and I see that across the board, and these are usually older people, a little older than you and I, that are in these positions, that are executive directors of these organizations, and they have a very difficult time with a growth mindset, with let's not do it the same way, because the same way isn't working. If you're not at 100%, then you always have a little room to grow. What have you seen?
Can you repeat the problem with the growth mindset, please, for me?
Yeah, with a lot of the organizations that I deal with,
yeah,
they have a hard time adapting a growth mindset. So a mindset of let's do things differently instead of let's do things the same.
Well, I don't think that. No, I did not have this observation, to be honest. So with the people I were talking to in this environment now, in this IT environment, even at the higher levels, they are, let's say, they are open for new ideas, but and they have a growth mindset, to be honest. But when it comes to decision taking, it's very hard for them to let loose and to say, okay, you are the smarter person in this subject matter, so it's your decision, right? So in the end, it's always them who want to be accountable for, and it's more like they want to prove that their role is, or they bind their role to decision making.
Yeah.
And the problem with the mindset, and maybe this now ties back to the growth mindset, how you phrased it, they don't see that they can multiply by enabling others to take decisions and just to create the room for them to grow.
Good aspect of growth mindset. Yeah. Yep.
And I think, yes, this is something I definitely observe. Yes. And what I also see is that their contributions towards the community, so to tell others now what makes a good leader, is very limited to talk about numbers and look how great my last thing was, and this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they're rarely coming back saying, you know what, this was my biggest mistake, or this was what I learned emotionally now from that. But to to be a little bit more vulnerable,
Mm.
and to demonstrate that they have these vulnerabilities, but they overcome them with certain tools, methods. And this is something where they really have hard time to share. Yeah.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Nadia, you wanted to ask something, or someone else?
Well, my question was, first of all, that was very useful. Thank you very much for this presentation. As I was hearing you say about the organization chart, asking if this is if this is just a picture of it, if it is describing what we really do. I thought of my company, and definitely it cannot describe in any way the way that we work together.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I'm not sure if I understood what ways do we have to change this, to illustrate these kind of relations between co-workers.
There is a visual used in sociocracy, where you use circles or cells to represent a self-sufficient unit. So you just draw a circle and you put into this circle all the roles that help to fulfill the purpose. And if you have a role that is communicating with the outside, you have it on the edge. If you have a role that is an expert within this function or within this circle of purpose, then this role is in the circle. And in sociocracy, the idea is to more or less remove the manager at the end, because you take all the responsibilities a manager has, split it out to all the elements of the circle, and then at the end, the whole circle is self-sufficient. I don't want to go that far, right? So not every industry and not every company is ready to have a model like that. But the visual is great. The visual is really awesome to help people to understand where is my place within this cell. So I see it like an organism and not like a ladder. And within this organism, is it for me okay to be an expert, or do I want to be at the edge? And do I want to have more stretch? Do I want to have a project, a stretch goal, or something like that? And then you can easily show how these things are cross-connected and where the responsibilities are. I can show this. I can give you an insight of how we use this within my team and within the team of my director, where we started to use this visualization with great success.
So that was really an amazing presentation, Guenter. Thank you so much.